my the Bears.
Because of the way they play the nickel corner here, and the nickel corner plays 88-85% of the snaps. He's got to be like part linebacker.
The Bears.
When you're in a scouting room, there's going to be differences of opinion.
The Bears.
Well, you're looking at traits. And remember when he tested very, very well.
The Bears.
Greg, why are teams wrong on quarterback evaluation so often?
Number one, it's a hard position to evaluate.
Former Bears scouting director Greg Gabriel talks football live every week on the Barroom Network. Also available on demand.
Look, I think it's a good time to be a Chicago Bears fan. There's a lot to be excited about. But let me tell you something. We are past the point of excuses. If things go sour, you have used up all of the patience that Chicago has to offer.
The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences.
It's the final countdown. Here we go, Barflies. Welcome to the Barfly Tailgate Show. You already know it's done by Barflies for Barflies and all the other Bears fans out there. What's up, Tooch? How was your week, brother?
Great. Happy New Year, Aaron. Happy New Year, all the Barflies. Also, happy birthday, Virginia McCaskey, 102. The matriarch of the Bears fan. Can we get a Packers win on Virginia's birthday? You know,
Virginia is the reason we do not have the Honey Bears, and we are cursed with that. We have not won Have we won a playoff game since we got rid of the Honey Bears? I don't believe so. So, yep, we're cursed with that because she doesn't want any harlots.
Go back to what Lovie Smith's last time we won a playoff game, right? Lovie Smith.
Yeah. I don't know if we had the Honey Bears then or not. I don't remember, but we haven't won a Super Bowl since them. I know that. I can tell you that.
I miss Lovie. You know, it's like remember Better Days. Bears sweep Packers. You know,
yeah.
Look at him.
I mean, that was his. He came in. That was his goal, was to win the North.
Yeah. And
to beat the Packers and have a respectable franchise. And
we haven't had a good coach since him.
They fired him on a 10-win season. Imagine if we had a coach that could go win 10 games consistently.
We'd be in the playoffs. We had 10 wins. You know, today's also my son's birthday. Got to wish him happy 26. I got him a non-scoring bedroom set.
Nice. So you're trying to keep him from. You don't want grandkids, or?
No, I'm kidding. Just a joke.
I didn't realize it was Joe Mandel's birthday. You should have.
Is it Joe? That was a while back, though, right?
Yeah, they used to say it was your son. I was trying to humor too.
Right, he's my radio son. I have two radio sons, Vinny Parisi and Joe Mandel.
I'll be your radio nephew. How's that?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we got one game left, and like I said, it doesn't feel like anyone's even the players aren't talking about it, except for Jalen Johnson. He's the only one who said anything. And I saw some Packers people talking about, how about you win a game before you talk, blah, 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 congrats on your poll. I'm like, what's he supposed to do? Like, they expect us to just cower in a corner and say, we're not worthy. You're the greatest franchise of all. And it's not going to happen like that. I view this rivalry exactly the same way I do Kentucky Louisville, but it's the opposite. Where Louisville is little brother to Kentucky, I feel like we're little brother to the Packers. And even though we've been around for longer, just the history. I mean, since 1992, they have since they traded for Brett Favre, they have absolutely owned this rivalry. I think it's like 51 and 15 or something like that since then. And it's not fun. And we thought we made some moves this offseason to try and move the needle. And even in 2018, game one, we lost to them. We brought in Khalil Mack, and he was wreaking havoc in the first half. And Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, and then he gets a shot in the knee. I don't know what he got a shot of, but he come right back out and slung it all over us. But
we haven't won against the Packers since Matt Nagy was coach, I think, right?
2018, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, and again, we repeated the cycle of firing a coach, after drafting a quarterback, and arguably one of the biggest mistakes was keeping this guy for the start of the season to develop Caleb Williams. I mean, let me just ask you a question. When you think of developing a quarterback, does Matt Eberflus's name spring to mind?
No, and we talked about this before we went live. Even the names that are coming up that the Bears are looking into.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel, maybe, because he has connections with offensive guys.
Josh McDaniels, that might be brought with him.
I don't know if I like that, but like if he were able to get Daboll, if Daboll gets fired and he brings him with him,
Ryan Daboll's another
maybe
name.
I look at that, but
you might not know exactly how much of Josh McDaniels' success was Tom Brady.
Right.
It's hard to
I
gauge.
worry about what Quinn is saying here, because there's a lot of Bears fans that are getting on the John Gruden train, and I like the guy enough. I mean, he's fiery. He's an offensive mind. He's a leader of men that they're looking for. But I haven't really seen his ability to coach a quarterback and progress them. He had Brad Johnson with the Buccaneers. He had Rich Gannon with the Raiders, but these were all guys that were older. He drafted Sean King, and he didn't really turn out to be anything, but I don't know that he obviously didn't have the expectations that Caleb walked in with.
Right, it was a second-round pick, I think, Sean King.
But John Gruden, I don't know how I would feel about that. I know he's got all the email stuff that pops up, and that would be bad. I like what he's doing at Barstool. I think he fits there perfectly. But if you really look at what he's done as a head coach, I mean, he won with Tampa Bay, but that was a ready-made team, in my opinion, when he took it over. And he hasn't really done much other than we went to Oakland. We went back to Oakland, kind of cooled them down, and he had calls in the draft room. And you remember, I mean, Alex Leatherwood was a first-round pick. Henry Ruggs was a first-round pick. Yeah. It worked out, but we don't know. Whenever the only one that worked out is the guy that we're going to see today, Josh Jacobs, playing for the Green Bay Packers.
Keep him out of the draft room, maybe. But, I mean, I certainly like the personality. I think he's a good leader of men, if that's what the Bears – we heard that term thrown around a lot, Is he a good leader of men? I mean, I'm less concerned about being a leader of men than I am with competing in our own division and developing Caleb Williams, because our division, we're looking up at three teams that are all going to be in the playoffs. Two of them tonight on Sunday Night Football are playing for the top seed in the NFL.
It's going to be a great game.
For the NFC, the top seed in the NFC. So as far as competing, whether it's in the NFL, we got a tough road to hoe competing in our own division, Aaron.
Absolutely. absolutely. And two of the guys who are candidates, Brian Flores and Ben Johnson, know all too well how good of a division we're in.
Yep.
So it almost makes you wonder if those guys, I mean, I would assume as a coach, as an alpha male, you want to take those difficult paths on and see if you can do what no one thinks you can do.
Yep.
But with Ben Johnson being linked to the Jaguars, I mean, first of all, I tweeted about this earlier. How's that not tampering? A, the Jags are still employing Doug Peterson. B,
Yep.
Ben Johnson is still employed with the Lions. So how is that already? I mean, unless it's just speculation.
Yeah.
How are they already connected? But if he were to go down there, he's playing against the Houston Texans, who all of a sudden that's who everyone wants to play when they make the playoffs in the AFC. The Indianapolis Colts, who drafted the wrong quarterback. I think they got a good coach, but they got the wrong quarterback, and I said that on draft day. And who else is in the AFC?
That defense needs help though in Indianapolis. Man, that last game against the Giants, it could stop Drew Lock and the Giants. Like, I had
it was the only bet I missed last week was the freaking Giants.
Me too. Yeah, I had the Colts, -7. So I guess a loser, tear up the ticket. You got no chance.
I just had the Colts. I had Colts money. I had a money line parlay too.
Yeah, they killed all.
I hit every other game.
Yep.
I hit every other game.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah. It's yeah. I mean, like I said, we still got a game. I'd rather not talk about the last week's game. Even though we kind of did a post game podcast where we didn't really talk about the game then either. But we lose to the Seahawks. We got 10 in a row going on the road to Lambeau Field. Final game of the season. And I don't know if anybody else is in the I'm in Kentucky. We are getting a snow ice storm on the way, so I'm just hoping that my power stays intact so I can watch
for the show. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, I think we'll be good for the show because right now it's just snow, but I think we got ice coming in behind it, which is what I'm worried about.
I mean, the Bears are in such dire straits right now. And I mean, there's we talked backstage, you and I, about Anthony Weaver, who's the latest buzz name, and I listened to him talk about being considered for head. I love that deep, resonating voice, of an Anthony Weaver. And
he's a former player. I guess maybe that. But I just don't see it, man. And I don't want to – if there's a defensive guy, if his name's not Mike Vrabel and he doesn't have a history of doing things, maybe Brian Flores, I wouldn't mind. I love his defensive style.
I do too, but he didn't handle Tua Tagovailoa well, by all accounts. So
right.
Did he learn from his mistake and you want to give him a chance? I mean – I'd rather play it safer with a guy with a proven track record like Ben Johnson, who you've said every time he's played us this year has been showing off. Man, look what I can do.
Every time he plays anyone, he does it, man.
Against your coach, man. Look at this. Yeah, it was a great game. I watched the Monday Night Football game versus the 49ers.
I love the lateral passes, those plays that they're doing. And they got guys like Jameson Williams, who I believe is a free agent, if not this year, then the next year.
Man, think of what he could do with DJ Moore in the Amon-Ra St. Brown slot. They're similarly built players, Amon-Ra and DJ Moore. I think if we're tied to DJ Moore for a while, then putting him, in the Amon-Ra job role.
Yeah. I mean, they both are not the biggest guys. They break tackles. They catch everything.
Run after the catch guys.
Yep. Yeah, it's
both good route runners. I mean, Amon-Ra is probably a little better route runner, and I think has better hands down. He's got better hands than DJ.
Yeah, I got.
You see, DJ dropped some easy ones since he's been here. Let's be honest.
Well, lately I feel like he's distracted. He's thinking about the offseason too. It's hard to not, but I think that
he's frustrated. He's frustrated with the play calling. I mean, you see a lot of the groupings where all the receivers are in one spot, within 5 yards of each other. There's no spread to the offense.
Right.
I don't know whether that's Thomas Brown or Chris Beatty, but we're back to doing the same thing with Shane Waldron and Matt Nagy. You know, Luke Getsy, same
where
thing.
Thomas
Man.
Brown took over in the middle of the season, it's not like he was able to put his offense in. He was
running the same.
We got a super chat, so we got to get into this. Matthew Focheezy, I got the feeling because ownership isn't willing to do what's necessary to get the top head coach, we will end up settling for third or fourth choice.
That's right. He's right. Because the sticking point is
right.
This guy's the sticking point, Matty. The sticking point right here. Whether or not you want to keep this guy, who I maintain is terrible at drafting. Aaron's like, he's got some pretty good picks, but I mean, let's look back. He's the best players he's picked. Best players picked was Caleb Williams. That was a no-brainer. Right. Gervon Dexter, great pick. Love that.
I still like Roma Dunze. I know we missed out on offensive line because of it, but you can find offensive linemen later if you know
Thomas
what you're
Jr.
looking for.
I'd rather have Brian Thomas Jr. That guy's a game breaker. World speed.
Would they put him in the right? If we got a Brian Thomas Jr., would they be having him do the correct things? For everything you could say about Doug Peterson, he's an offensive-minded head coach who's been there before, done it before, knows how to handle
go over 1,000 yards. I'll tell you that today he's got a chance to go over 1,000 yards as a rookie, which, as you know, I know we're playing 17 games instead of 16, but it's still a hard feat for a rookie to do.
Right. And I mean, you talked about DJ Moore. I heard Olin Kreutz say it's like they think he's going to explode if he runs further downfield than 13 yards. Everything he runs is like a 5-yard in or a slant or like DJ Moore has the ability to go down the first. When we first brought in DJ Moore, the first thing I thought of was the Hail Mary catch that he made in Carolina against Atlanta, which he proceeded to take his helmet off after, and they got a 15-yard penalty, which gave Atlanta the chance to kick a game-winning field goal. But he has the ability to go downfield if you use him correctly. And that's why I think we got to go with an offensive-minded head coach. Now, if Brian Flores can bring
Ben Johnson here.
Right. Ben Johnson's my number one choice.
You get rid of Poles, but the Bears management ownership, they don't have the balls to do that. The Bears ownership doesn't have the balls.
What would you think though
to fire a guy that they personally like? And that's that's the thing. Maybe if it's they're like you've always heard people say they run it like a mom and pop shop, right? Mom and pop shops get attached to their employees. Mm-hmm. Ryan Poles got attached to Adrian Colbert or whatever. Right. What's his name? George McCaskey gets attached to these guys, and didn't want to fire him. He liked Lovie Smith, didn't want to fire him. And I agree. They shouldn't have fired Lovie Smith because he was 10-6. But other guys didn't want to fire Matt Nagy. Didn't want to fire the people that they build. But, when you're running a business, whether it's a sports franchise or any other business, you can't let that kind of emotion get in the way of improvement for your business.
I will say this, and this connects with what Focheezy's saying here. Cincinnati, I grew up cheering for the Bengals. They ran the exact same way as a family business that they inherited from oh my God, I can't think of his name.
Paul
Brown. They inherited from him, and they ran it the cheapest way possible. They have the smallest scouting department in the NFL, which is why they lucked into Joe Burrow, number one. They lucked into Jamar Chase. They lucked into T. Higgins, and they can't figure out how to fix the defensive pieces when they leave in free agency.
The defense has been playing better the last 4 or 5 weeks, though. You have to say.
It has.
I forget the name of their defensive coordinator, but he's pretty good. A pretty good one. It's an Italian guy. Lou Anaramo or Anaramo. Lou Anaramo.
Lou something. But it's it's ran the same way in Cincinnati as they don't want to spend the money. We'll see if they if Joe Burrow takes not necessarily a pay cut, but if they can convert that into signing bonus so they can try and keep some of his weapons around, because Jamar Chase is looking for the triple.
That was Phil Emery.
It was Phil Emery. I didn't like when they hired Phil Emery. I was like, okay,
he was there. He was the director of college scouting.
But when I start, and me too, I've been doing mock drafts for a month now. But when I do these mock drafts leading up into the draft, so I know who to scout, and then I see Phil Emery pick someone who I have no idea who it is, tells me that there's a problem with that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the very least, with Poles' early picks, I know who he's picking. I know who this person is. It's not a surprise. Now, Karan Amagaji in the 3rd round, I would have never guessed that, but I just.
I mean, it's stupid. That pick, yeah, an injured Ivy League offensive lineman. Come on, in the 3rd round.
Right.
I mean, I think Dominic Pooney was there, who has been doing well with the Chiefs. I think he's on the Chiefs.
I haven't looked back, but
it was a guy I looked at with Kansas.
Guys there to get.
Yeah, multiple offensive line spots came from Kansas. Good program with a good coach. When I look to drafting NFL players, Ivy League's the last place I'm looking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
until if
it's dumb.
And Dan Bernstein's talks about this on 670 The Score. If the Ivy League were to do what Duke is planning on doing, where they've got a lot of people who are alumni with a lot of money to throw around, and they can throw it around in NIL, maybe. Yeah. But until then, give me an Alabama center, a Georgia offensive guard,
LSU wide receiver,
the LSU offensive tackle, Will Campbell.
I love his interview.
Oh. I don't give a damn what you got to do. Get that man in Chicago, and I'm buying a jersey. I love the way he talks.
A cerebral left tackle, man. Give me it. Yeah, man. It's like Jim.
I love when they asked him, how do you know this and that? And he goes, because I know. I've been there. Look at my first snap as a college player. I got my face kicked in, but I came back, and oh my God, I just love that guy. Shout out, by the way, Chris Watts in the chat.
Miss that guy.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and all of the above. Hopefully, we'll talk this off season, but I think you'll be back next year if that's still the plan. It's always an open invite to you, Chris.
Yep.
But we miss you, brother. I hope you're doing well.
The best move would be to hire Ben Johnson. I don't care what you do. If it costs you Ryan Poles, you do it. Ryan Poles, to me, doesn't have a good enough track record to keep his job. I don't care how much him and Kevin Warren love each other. Right. Kevin Warren's there to get the stadium deal done. He's not a football guy.
Oh my God! Don't get me started.
San Francisco, we saw him play against us in San Francisco. Yeah,
right. He's there to get the stadium done, where they already own land in Arlington Heights big enough to build something, and he's yet to build anything because he's so in love with the city of Chicago. What are you doing, bro? We own the land. Move it there. Build it there.
If I was George McCaskey and I spent all this money on Arlington Park, which has its own train stop. It has its own metric train stop. I know because I got on the wrong train one time and I had to get off there and have my wife come pick me up. But I'm like, I'm on the wrong
right there. We could just park at Aldo's and we'll walk to the ball games.
I mean, and it's super close to O'Hare too, man. You're talking 15 minutes from O'Hare, 10 minutes.
So when they put their next head coach,
plane, boom.
So so when they put their next head coach and fly him to Chicago, they can just pick him up at O'Hare. When they put him in the back of the plane somewhere. Warren's a politician, absolutely. I agree with you, and I think Ben Johnson.
This freaking spot, dude. Give me a casino there. Build a casino. Give me some bars. Give me some restaurants. Give me a Hall of Fame. Give me a
Barstool sports book there.
Give me a Barstool sports book. Shit.
It's
not hard. Give me a retractable dome. I want a Final Four there. I want a Super Bowl there. Come on, let's get it done.
Yeah, I'm with you, though. I think that
the last time we had to drop a freaking spaceship in the middle of the freaking colonnades because people love the colonnades.
Yeah.
Now it's the smallest stadium in the NFL. The Bears are getting zero revenue from the concessions.
A nightmare to get in and out of. You got to walk a few miles to get to your vehicle after you get out, unless you have a parking pass and all that stuff. But I think Ben Johnson's the right answer. But
not if you're Jay Sanders, though. First time head coach. I mean, Matt LaFleur was the first time head coach. We haven't beaten him. He's 10-11-0 against
Dan Campbell, first time head coach.
Yeah,
Kevin O'Connell, first time head coach. Yeah.
I don't think that matters. Do I think at this point in time with how bad the locker room, the culture, everything, the management, the ownership, do I think a veteran head coach would help? Yes. But I mean, at this point, the veteran head coaches, it's really just Mike Vrabel, and John
Vrabel. If you were to give me your top 5 list, though, Tooch, I know we're step for step with Ben Johnson, number 1. I feel like we're on the same page. Vrabel, number 2, or is there someone else that you have at number 2?
Yeah, Brave will be all right. I kind of like John Gruden, though, man. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I love his personality. I think he's a great soundbite, and I think he's a good manager of players at this level. I think he's a good offensive mind as well. I think he's got a track record of working with quarterbacks that, he has a Gruden quarterback school and all that shit. But it depends on who he's going to bring along with him,
Well, Gruden's quarterback school gave us our first red flags about Trubisky when he didn't even know how to do a hard count.
Yeah,
he didn't
exactly.
know what he was talking about. I like the idea of maybe if we can't get Ben Johnson, if he's pulled out from under us and goes to the Jags, if Vrabel's already knee deep in New York with the Jets and they end up making him an offer he can't refuse, including bringing in a GM of his choosing, and we miss out on both of those guys, I'm starting to come around to the idea of Brian Flores. I know that didn't work out perfectly with Tua, but you got to hope that he learned from that. And if he can bring someone from that offensive staff from the Vikings to come and be the offensive coordinator here, and maybe someone will come because they get a chance to finally call plays and they haven't called plays or something. I mean, I know it's scary to have a first-time play caller, but I'm kind of okay with that idea. What I'm not okay with is Anthony Weaver as a first-time head coach.
Yeah. Okay. I'd rather have Weaver than Flores, but I mean, Flores' defense has really fallen off the second half of the season. At the beginning, I liked all the exotic blitzes, but I actually like Detroit to win the game tonight. I think look. I'm
on the other side, man. I
know you like the Vikings.
Vikings. Yeah.
I can't go. I mean, the Lions at home are freaking cash machine.
Well, they did get Anzalone back. I saw that today that he's come back from IR.
They are banged up, but man, the offense is putting up 33 points a game, 34 points a game. You're going to put points up against the Vikings. I don't care what you do. He's going to blitz. Jared Goff is great against the blitz. They have hot routes and receivers that they can get out to. Man, if they had another guy opposite Amon-Ra, I think you'd be talking, give the Super Bowl trophy to the Lions. But
I thought Jameson Williams do that, but
he's played really well the past few games.
Yeah, I love like I said, I love the play where they throw it to like Penei Sewell and he flips it back to Jameson, and there's just a right up the sideline wide open thing. Now imagine if Ben Johnson came here and we tried that with Darnell Wright. I mean, he's athletic enough. I mean, when he did his off-season workout for the Bears, he did the wide receiver one. Didn't realize it was not the offensive lineman one. So I love Ben Johnson. I think he's got to be the answer.
I think so too. I mean, you're going to get into already like Ben Johnson. Him and his team, his management team or agent team, representation have already started driving up the price between the Bears and the Jaguars. Mashad, if you're talking about who's going to spend more, it's Shad Khan, the owner of the Jaguars.
Yeah.
I mean, you want your own, just the guy that doesn't care.
Right.
You want your own GM, Johnson? Here you go. Trent Baalke, you're out of here.
Bring with you.
Yeah, the Bears are going to be like, we really want you to take Ryan Poles. If I'm Ben Johnson, like, no, I don't think so. All I have to do is look back
pull
at
up his draft. Yeah. Pull up his draft, Tooch. I know you got it in there.
Yeah. I got it here.
All Ben Johnson has to do is sit down with the McCaskies.
This is his first draft. I mean, look at below Braxton Jones,
free agent. Elijah Hicks has
and he's coming off a devastating injury.
Jaquan Brisker's been injured all
year. We haven't
seen
Jaquan Brisker since week 4 against the Panthers.
Kyler Gordon looks like a good pick.
Gordon, great pick. Yep,
he's got one there.
Great pick. But I mean, those are all the whole draft is misses.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. Jaquan Brisker, a great pick, a good player, but you're going to have to redraft strong safety this year because he's never on the field, man. I don't know if he'll ever play again.
I think
here we had 2 hits at the top. After that, not a lot of. I think
Tyreek Stevenson with the right coaching, he can be a hit as well. I mean, we saw glimpses of it his rookie year, and then it seemed like I know what happened in Washington is unforgivable. people wanted him cut then.
He's like he's our Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's a dick on the field.
Right. And you need guys like that. You can't build a defense with a bunch of nice guys.
But you need guys that can back it up, though. I don't think he can back it up, man. He doesn't back it up.
I think he can. I think he has the ability. So we're different on that one.
But
Yellow, I think, is right.
I don't think you throw him out with the bathwater on Tyreek.
Right.
I think you got to keep it. He's a second-round pick. Mm-hmm. Then you got Zach Pickens, who hasn't done anything. Roshan's a decent pick, I think. But he's also been
now
injured.
Concussions are coming up and hitting the way he runs, man. That's scary.
We might have to draft running back again. This is, and then look at that. Tyler Scott can't get on the field. Noah Sewell, I don't think has he ever played a snap?
I think he plays special teams
player. Great. Travis Bell and Kendall Williams, those guys are gone. Terrell Smith has been okay. He's a 5th-round corner, though.
When they drafted Travis Bell, I thought he'd be okay, like a depth piece, but he just never saw the field.
And here's the latest one. Caleb and Rome, pretty good picks after that. I think Austin Booker's got some potential. Next year, though, he's a guy.
I'd say the jury's still out on that whole draft. I mean, Karan, we don't know. I don't know. He's definitely not a left tackle, but I think he could probably play left guard. And you got Tevin Jenkins, who's gone. There's no way they're re-signing him.
Amagaji might not be a starter until 2026.
Yeah, maybe.
To be honest,
Yeah.
His whole first year was a wash.
Torrey's a good player, even though he's a
good player, but we had a guy that was just as good already on the roster. We need to spend a 4th-round pick. And you're talking to an Iowa guy.
Yeah.
And I love Torrey Taylor, but a 4th-round pick on a punter, shit.
Right. But they came back in the 5th round and grabbed Austin Booker, who a lot of people wanted them to grab in that 4th round.
Yeah, I love Austin Booker. Yeah. I think there's some potential there, but I mean, if
my
I'm an
man,
owner,
Cheesy, you already know, Scatterboo.
Scatterboo. Yep, that's just like a Brock Bowers type.
Love the way
Lad McConkey type play. That's look at all. I would rather have Lad McConkey than Rome Odunze, to be honest with you. Well, we could have traded back, got Lad in the 2nd round, man.
I saw Lad at Georgia, and he's athletic, a great route runner.
Yeah.
But
fantastic route runner.
I think Rome can still be good. I think the problem is coaching and not putting these players in the correct position to win. We talked about it with DJ Moore. We've seen it with DJ Moore. We see it with Keenan Allen, where they're not using. Where in the world has Cole Kmet been? When he touches the ball, good things happen, but they don't let him touch the ball ever.
Where's Cole? Look at that line.
Yeah.
Right?
Where in the world is Cole Kmet?
Yeah. So if you can't figure out how to use a tight end with that kind of talent, you shouldn't be coaching.
And things like that. I know the offensive line needs to be fixed, and they worry about not having enough time to let plays develop, etc. But if you're an offensive-minded head coach and
I would trade him to the Chiefs for a 2nd.
I know you don't have Keenan Allen next year, most likely, but you see the pieces that are there, man. It's got to make you – what could Ben Johnson do with this group of guys? You know what I'm saying? What could even Cliff Kingsbury do? You put
DJ Moore in that Amon-Ra St. Brown role that he runs on the Lions. So they're similar players. They're similar players.
And you don't think Cole Kmet can do some of the things, if not all the things that Sam Laporta can do?
Yeah, Laporta, Hawkinson, all those guys.
He's a big tight end. Kmet 6'6" is not hard to see, but they got trouble finding him, brother. I don't know what.
Sorry, Flex. He's on. Last time we saw him, he was on the back of a milk carton.
Oh yeah. That's right, Buka. Allstott. I'm telling you, that's what Scatterboo is.
I love Allstott, man.
Oh my god,
Joliet, Illinois, man.
Big giant head.
I lived in Naperville. Joliet was like a town or two over, southwest of.
Is that where Allstott's from?
Yeah, Joliet Catholic High School.
I knew he went to Purdue, correct?
He played. We play. Naperville played against Joliet, and the legend of Allstott was he would pull a car in the parking lot or truck, pull it. Guy had thighs like redwood trees.
Hell yeah, Buka. I'll
know?
start with the big high neck roll. Hell yeah.
Yep.
I played linebacker in high school. I always wanted one of those neck rolls, but
we're hoping Brad Muster was a guy like that. You know, he was a big fullback like that, good hands.
Mhm.
Yeah, Allstat was great, man. Blocker, catcher, runner.
Right. Scadaboo's more than just a runner.
Yep.
He could catch the
Split
ball,
him out
he could
wide.
throw the ball. He threw the ball in their playoff game, I think.
Yep.
The guy
They almost won that game. Shit.
probably should have won that game. Yeah,
probably should have won the game.
But yeah, we'll I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk about the draft. But we're a little over half an hour in, Tooch.
We're gonna break it down. We gotta we talked about players getting ready for the offseason. I have a picture of Caleb leaving Hallis Hall after the season. Caleb getting ready to leave Hallis Hall, leaving that junk dumpster fire behind. That's Caleb Williams. You have a Lamborghini and Hallis Hall in the background. It's a crumbling shack.
Yeah. I will say though, they asked him this week about his what was this some of the thing they really said the deterioration of the offensive line, etc. They said was this because the rumor was that he was worried about these things coming in, and he stood up for his offensive line. I know they're not good, but he said he wanted to say the shitty connotation about it, but he said the stupid connotation about my offensive line. And
did you catch his quote was like, hey, I forgot. It was like that goes back way longer than when I got here. It was basically, if I translate that, he's like, man, it sucked here before I got here, bro.
Right. I mean,
it ain't my fault.
His favorite quarterback was Aaron Rodgers, so he watched him on us for years. You know, it's nothing. It's not new.
I know he took some flack for that, but I mean, hey, I'd rather have a guy that's honest. You know, he's telling us nothing we don't know.
He's of all the guy. We got 8 guys with a C on our chest. By the way, next year, if we don't have one in the trenches with a C on their chest, we're starting off in a bad spot. But he's the only one wearing a C on his chest. Maybe Jalen Johnson, maybe.
Yeah.
That has shown leadership.
He doesn't have the captain, Caleb.
Caleb does have the captain.
He does have a captain. Yeah.
He's the only one that shows leadership. I love DJ Moore, but when they ask him questions, he diverts it the best he can, and
they're just like they gave it to him so he might with the hope of him becoming a leader.
It seems
not
like
because he is a leader.
But there shouldn't be 8 captains, first of all. And second of all, if you don't have one in the trenches.
3. You only need 3.
I think I'm of the idea that you need an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, a quarterback.
Yep.
Maybe a linebacker.
A special teams captain.
And then a special teams captain. Long snapper, punter, whoever it may be. Maybe Tory Taylor will have a seat.
That was Patrick Manley for years.
Yeah,
on the Bears, special teams captain,
longest tenured Bear of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite pleased with the season that Caleb Williams had, and it wasn't ideal. He lost his head coach, he lost his offensive coordinator, but if you look at it, I mean, he is the only rookie quarterback in NFL history to have 3,300 passing yards, 18 passing touchdowns, 6 or fewer interceptions, and 450 rushing yards. Now people say, well, Jalen Daniels has all this. Jalen Daniels has 8 interceptions on the season. I know we're splitting hairs and stuff, but 6 or fewer INTs is pretty good for a rookie. So,
and their yardage isn't that far off from each other. Caleb and Jaden.
Jaden's got a couple more touchdown passes.
Well, if you want to talk about touchdown passes, Bo Nix leads all of them in touchdown passes.
Yep.
But I said this on my 12-ounce Curl Route podcast. People and a lot of Bears fans are scarred from the Trubisky pick, I think, because we chose Trubisky over Mahomes and over Deshaun Watson, who Deshaun Watson at first looked good in Houston, then he's really fallen. I mean, really fallen off. But Mahomes is the future GOAT. I mean, I might take some flack for saying that, but it's hard to argue against it. Multiple Pro Bowls,
he just wins.
Super Bowls. He just does.
Look,
he does.
They haven't had nobody.
To his coaching.
Yep, but look at their offensive and defensive lines over there.
Absolutely.
Chiefs offensive line is one of the best in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like this draft class can be like the 84 draft class or was it 83 that had
83
that had Dan Marino and
Jim Kelly,
Right.
Yeah.
I saw in my lifetime it was the 04 draft with Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers.
Yep.
I feel
Jay
like this
Cutler.
draft class is like that because look,
Yeah.
Caleb he's fine. If he finishes this Sunday, if he finishes today with 275 yards, he's the third all-time passing for a season quarterback. I know it's just for the Bears, but hey, that's fantastic for everything he's gone through. Jaden Daniels, Pro Bowler. Bo Nix, possible offensive rookie of the year. Drake May looks good when he's not concussed. And even Michael Penix, now that he's getting his chance, looks like a hit too. Like this might be something that we haven't seen in several years. Matthew Vocchese's got another
Super chat.
Oh
my man.
It's all about coaching. We thought CW.
We haven't had a good coach since Lovie Smith.
We were way off.
Yep.
Yeah. The coaching was bad. The offensive line is not complete. And the defense, the defensive line is really just sweat, especially with when Billings went down. We obviously all of a sudden couldn't stop.
Gervon went down.
Trevon, yeah, and we didn't see Austin Booker. Dominic Robinson's just holding a roster spot for who knows what, but it's really just Sweat by himself. So that's another position need.
Why can't Dominic Robinson get on the field?
We've only got one top 10 draft pick, and it's got to either be a left tackle or a defensive end because I don't know if those guys are.
If the Bears lose today and certain other teams win, they could go as high as pick 5.
Yeah, which would be fantastic.
That would help us land someone like Will Campbell or Calvin Banks. It's really not a great draft for offensive tackles or left tackles, whatever you want to.
I thought that early in the season, but the more I've looked at it, the more I like both.
Once you get past the top 10, though, it's not that great.
But
there's some players out there.
I think that's true with a lot of drafts. I like the guy from Ohio State, but I believe he's been injured, so you might be able to grab him late in the second round. You got 2 second-round picks, so you might be able to grab him. The Connolly from Oregon. They got both tackles from Texas are in this draft, so we'll see what Arch Manning can do next year with 2 new. Of course, they recruit great, so it's, they probably got someone else loaded up. But I think this offensive line class isn't bad. It's not as bad as we originally thought. And a lot of it's on the inside. I mean, you got Tyler Booker from Alabama I like a lot. And there's a guy from Arizona.
Some good guards.
There's a guy from Arizona I keep seeing on mock draft simulators, but I cannot pronounce his name. It's Savannah or something like that. I haven't looked into him much. The center from Texas, another guy who's going to the draft, Majors. It's
as soon as the season's over, I'll get more into looking at drafts and stuff.
Oh yeah. We'll do our own little Barfly tailgate draft here, and run our mock draft simulator. Although the one that I used to use was the Draft Network. I paid for it, and that is no longer available. They broke up the Draft Network, and a lot of them went to the Locked On Sports and started doing their podcasts. And I don't know what happened to the Draft Network, but the last time I got on there, it didn't have the simulator. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll look into it, but that'll be something we do this off season. Tell me something about today's game, because I know no one wants to talk about it, but we still got a Packers game today, and it's been 6-7 years since we beat these guys, so it doesn't look great.
We haven't beat them since Nagy was coach, so I'm not expecting them to beat them today. But but let me tell you about the Bears' offense a little bit. 287 yards per game. If you had to guess out of 32 teams where that ranks, what would you say? It's like
31.
32.
I watched the Browns play, so I don't think we're as bad as them.
We're 32nd in the NFL and 4.9 yards per play on average. is also 32nd in the NFL.
Well, I know that we're terrible running the ball, so we go into 2nd and 8 almost every time, and then I don't know.
DeAndre Swift, I think, needs like 50 yards or so to get some incentive, reach some incentive. I think maybe 200,000 or something like that. But Packers run defense 100.4 rush yards per game is 6th in the NFL. So it's going to be tough sledding against the Packers run defense. If you want, you have to pass against them. They're allowing about 220 pass yards per game, which is 17th in the NFL.
Jair Alexander is out the rest of the year, though. He went on season-ending IR. So
we will be. If you want, you got to pass against them today. So if you want to beat the Packers, Caleb Williams is going to have to, have a big game throwing the football. Packers run defense 6th in the NFL, pass defense 17th in the NFL. Packers are allowing 5.5 yards per play, 9th in the NFL, and they're allowing only 320 yards of offense per game, which is 8th in the NFL. The Bears defense, on the other hand, we're allowing 353.4 yards per game. That's 25th in the NFL. So, I mean, the Packers offense is putting up 371 yards per game, 7th in the NFL. They are putting up offense under Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love and company, and Josh Jacobs is having a big day. The Packers run offense. They've having a really strong season with Josh Jacobs, man. Their rush offense, that's number 5 in the NFL, 144.6 yards per game. So, I mean, they should run their ass off. The Bears defense has given up 133 yards, or 27th in the NFL against the run. We used to be a top 5 run defense there. Yeah. I know Billings is out. Gervon is out. I don't like our chances against the Packers. We haven't scored in the first quarter, I don't think all season. And I think you have to go back to November 24th. Before the Lions game, we put up 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. But before that, it was like November 24th when we scored in the first half, man. This is like I scored a touchdown in the first half.
I remember them doing it once. It was I think it was a Troy Aikman called game. Because I remember them saying, and that's the first time they've scored in the first quarter all season. Oh, yeah. Man, I can't remember which one it was. I feel like I remember hearing Troy Aikman say it, though. So that
was November 24th, I think.
Maybe.
See if I could find that.
I don't know. But
against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, we scored a touchdown. It was 7-0. It was 7-0 in the first quarter against the Vikings on Thanksgiving. That was it, around Thanksgiving, but the Sunday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I know. Didn't we play the Vikings on Monday night? So maybe that is why I'm hearing Troy Aikman. I feel like it was Monday Night Football. I don't know.
That could have been Monday. Could have been Monday before Thanksgiving. I don't know.
My co-host on the 12 Ounce Co-op podcast, as you know, is a Packers fan. I was in the Army with him, and we went back and forth. That's where we did a podcast without having computers back in the day, when we were in the Army together, and that's where it all kind of was born from. But he has said that LaFleur, and it'll probably work against us, but what's gotten him in trouble against some of the better teams like the Vikings, Lions, etc., is he gets very run heavy. He turns around and wants to give it to Josh Jacobs all the time and doesn't allow the quarterback who they paid to play quarterback, and he's done well when they have allowed it. But we've seen a lot of times they'll get behind from trying to run the ball, and then Jordan Love will pull them back. Like the game against the Vikings last week, they were down 2 scores, and he brought them back. But that's it. I think today they'll run the ball a lot. Whether it's, I think I've already bet an anytime touchdown for their backup running back because I think they'll pull the starters about halftime.
Yeah.
But they got a good backup running back too. I think it wears number 31.
Emmanuel Johnson.
Emmanuel, that's it.
Emmanuel Johnson.
Wilson.
I think something. Emmanuel Wilson.
Yeah. So that'll be something to watch today. We'll see if the starters are even in the second half for the Packers.
I mean, the Bears would be better off losing this game.
Absolutely.
As far as like draft position, getting rid of Ryan Poles, if that's your thing. For me, I've seen enough of Ryan Poles. I think he's horrible.
I think it's a foregone conclusion.
A second round pick for Chase Claypool.
I think it's
10
30,
passes. 33rd overall. Yeah.
No, technically that one was 32nd overall.
32nd overall, yep.
Because the Dolphins did not have a first round pick due to tampering.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Just dumb. I mean, the Steelers robbed us blind, man. Fucking, if I was an owner, I'd be so fucking pissed.
I mean, if Mike Tomlin gives up on a guy, just maybe you should too.
Yeah. Anyone that Mike Tomlin is getting rid of, they can't.
I mean, think about who Mike Tomlin stuck it out with.
Yep.
AB, pre-CTE, Juju Smith-Schuster, and all of his TikTok dances. Now George Pickens, Russell Wilson, who we thought was washed, Mitch Trubisky, who we correctly probably guessed was washed.
Yep.
Now he's got Justin Fields for a 6th round pick because he was smart enough to pull him to put in Russell, so he didn't have to give up a higher draft pick. If Tomlin gives up on you, the rest of the league probably should too.
Yep, they don't want to give up a 4th round. They were giving us a 6th round pick for Fields.
Yeah,
that was the move there, and they're not stupid. And the people that run the Bears are stupid. From ownership.
And that's another shot on Ryan Poles is because I moved him somewhere where he wanted to be. Like, no,
get the highest draft pick.
If Randy Moss is not happy in Minnesota, you take the highest from the Oakland Raiders. You take the highest draft pick possible for him. You don't just move him to where he wants to go. Like, I don't know. I agree, Flex. I think we're going to get pummeled today.
Oh, sorry.
We both tried to hit it.
Grabbing it. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
Yep, we are going to get pummeled today. Man. Like I said, I'm trying to.
I will say, though, Jonathan Ford, who we stole from the Packers practice squad, is a defensive tackle that has been – he wears 64, so I don't know what his contract looks like. But you hear his pads pop when he flies off the ball. That's what you look for. I know it's little things and there's not a lot to salvage from this season, but I still want to see. I think DJ Moore's like 120 yards away from having a 1,000-yard season, which I know that's a big ask, but if we can hit that, and then like I said earlier, Caleb Williams, if he can have a big game, he's already top 5 all time. He can move into the top 3. Because the 2 ahead of him aren't too bad. Skip, that's not going to happen. Is that a skip?
Like I said, my whole thoughts. This is like the most Bears thing ever would be we got to rest Caleb, and we're going to start Bagent. And then Bagent beats the Packers. So all off season we have all this unnecessary drama and discussion. Like tortured.
If he beats the Packers backups, we're going to say, we're going to. Say let's go. I just don't. We're not starting Bagent. I did.
Yeah, I mean he's not my first choice, but I mean I think I'd rather have him than Brian Flores.
I think I want an asshole. I think I'd rather have an asshole.
I don't know. He didn't do well with Tua. That's my hesitation.
Yeah,
and then if you listen to the Gabriel show, he's like. He sued the NFL.
That's what I think is going to hold it back is his lawsuit with the NFL. But did you see who is being talked about as the possible New Orleans Saints future head coach?
No.
A man by the name of Matthew Nagy.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Is up for the Saints job.
Before the show, look, I don't want a defensive guy because if you before the show I mentioned that the first 3 head coaches fired this season, in season, were all defensive guys: Dennis Allen, Robert Saleh, and Matt Eberflus. They were all fired. For in the middle of the season, the first guys fired defensive guys because they don't. Mm-hmm. It's an offensive league, man. I know we got burned because Nagy sucked, but again, we hired Nagy. He was learning on the job, wasn't ready. He was a terrible manager of people.
He called plays like 3 games, whereas Ben Johnson has called plays for 3 years. He has been through it and done it, and and I think he's the right answer. But it's
Was
whatever
Nagy?
the
He
McCaskies
he
was.
wasn't calling plays in Kansas City. It was Andy Reid.
He called plays the last couple of games, like the game that they lost to the Titans. He was calling plays.
Yep.
How did that tell you that that's the? I just
And I
think
remember I've always said on Barroom that Matt Nagy was hired because he went out to dinner with Ryan Pace, and Ryan Pace's wife and Nagy's wife were there as well. And the wives hit it off. It was that soundbite little piece of news that like Ryan Pace had mentioned that our wives really hit it off. I don't give a fuck about your wives hitting it off. I want to know if the guy can coach.
Yeah.
I don't care if Ryan Pace's wife and Matt Nagy's wife get along. It's just so dumb, man.
When Poles hired Matt Eberflus, when Poles hired Matt Eberflus, he called him his brother.
Yeah,
I don't need that. I've got another brother, but
that's the thing. Poles is like too emotional with this, and he can't identify talent to save his life. He's an offensive line. He can't find offensive line talent.
Yeah, Skip, I don't know if we'll be having the same discussion next year and every year.
Maybe.
But a couple of years from here, if they don't choose the right one, yeah, you're going to be having the same discussion. And then what happens with Poles if they say they get Ben Johnson and he goes, okay, I'll come in and I'll be under Poles. Do they then extend Poles to marry him?
Why would you, though? Why would you come here and say, I've got to
be this franchise
under this freaking idiot who can't pick players for me? Fuck
Have
that.
you met this franchise, Tooch?
What's that?
Have you met this franchise?
I
Yeah, he was sold on the hits philosophy, which I know when this first happened, Flus got crapped on a lot. But as a military guy, we use a lot of acronyms. So I was like, okay, whatever, but I didn't like Flus from the beginning. Actually, I was shocked that we hired him. I thought we'd hire Dan Campbell or Dan Quinn if we were going to go with a defensive guy, but they flew him in on coach, and I guess he
Bruce
made his
Arians in the building, and we hired Mark Trestman.
How does that happen? How does this happen over and over and over again? Maybe Skip's right. I mean, I've only been at the bar room for 5-6 years, and we've been through how many already?
Thank you, Maddie. Virginia's not.
That was a decade ago.
Yeah, Virginia's not happy. Yeah, what was that? Was when they fired Lovey?
That was I think it was when Trestman got blown out or something.
Okay. Yeah. It was when Trestman got back-to-back 50 burgers hung on our defense.
I think it was Mark Silverman put up the Virginia's Piss press conference was a decade ago. Since then, we've gone like 61 and 100. Like, are you still mad or what? What's the never trust someone with their own acronym. I guess that's true, Hugh. Shout out to military service.
Yep. Thank you for your service, AC and Hugh.
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce Arians, biggest coaching mistake they've made.
I don't know how you do it, man. And then when you heard Mark Trestman talk, what sold you on that guy?
He wrote a book on leadership. That's why. He had that whatever stupid ass book that nobody read.
O.J. Simpson wrote a book called "If I Did It, This Is What You gonna hire him or
did he really?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Maybe I'm. Yeah. Let's see what Skeet Dog says here. The Bears do not want to hire a coach that's going to challenge the organization and is an alpha male. Bear down, Skeet Dog for sure.
That's the talk.
Now, I don't know what Mike Ditka did to scar the McCaskies for life, but it has terrified them into making the wrong decision over and over and over again.
He became bigger than the team.
Even with Lovey, he was an alpha, but he didn't have that brash in your face like Dan Campbell. If he was in Chicago, they'd be running scared, terrified, hiding under their desks from this man. I don't understand what scares them so bad about. I mean, it hasn't worked, so why not try something different? Shout out Don Burr, biggest game of the regular season ever. Yep, that's a great game. Number 1 seed in NFC North on the line.
Yep.
It's like I told Tooch, I hope my power doesn't go out today. We got an ice storm coming in.
Can't wait to watch that one, man. It's gonna be some good football.
Sunday night. Why is it got to be so late, man? I work for a living.
I'm working Monday as well. I'll be looking forward to watching that, and not looking forward to watching the Packers beat the Bears. I got a big honeydew list. I'm going to watch it too, but I mean, I do have a honeydew list, and I might slip away to take care of some of the stuff, you know?
Yeah. I don't. You're right, Skip. Insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. That's King Buka. I swear, if this happens, you talk about losing my mind. I don't know. Y'all might have to find another co-host for the Barfly Tailgate show if it's Arthur Smith, because oh my God, you talk about an idiot. I don't know. But
head coach Arthur Smith. Fuck.
We're an hour in. Past 11 o'clock, so it's about time to
wrap it up.
Wrap this thing up. I know we didn't talk much about the game at all, and I even tried to steer us that way, and we got steered back.
We got some stats about how the Bears' offense is again last in the NFL. That's what you get when you hire a defensive coach who won't hire offensive talent at the offensive coordinator position because it threatens their job security. I mean, you look at he didn't want to hire Cliff Kingsbury or what's the guy?
Liam Cohen.
Liam Cohen. Clint Kubiak,
look what he's doing in
Joe
Tampa.
Brady.
I mean, he's got Baker got snubbed out of the Pro Bowl because Jalen Daniels is a bigger fan favorite. But if you look at the numbers, Baker Mayfield got screwed out of the Pro Bowl. He's put up monster numbers
at a high
under
level.
Liam Cohen.
And they've done it with the patchwork offensive line.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yep.
And then
they found Tristan Wirfs. They found Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa, and he's been the cornerstone of that O-line. But other than that, a lot of those guys they let leave in free agency. I mean, look at Buffalo. Half their offensive line left in free agency. One of them was on our injured reserve list for most of the year. Their other center was gone. Morse, so they went a whole new center, I believe, new guards. I think Deion Dawkins was. I feel like he was there for a while, but a lot of these teams are able to turn over the offensive line and be just fine. We'll see what Kansas City can do if Trey Smith leaves via free agency this offseason. Hopefully for Chicago, fingers crossed.
Yeah, right.
But we'll close this thing out, and then we won't have a show next week. We'll wait until closer to maybe we might have a Super Bowl show. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure it out. But this off season we'll have a draft show, probably a free agency previewer, something like that. And then, but yeah, I appreciate you coming in and helping me out too. I texted KB, but like I said, I think they're in the middle of this storm as well. And with him being a firefighter, he's probably out putting in a lot of work and not having a good day, if I had to guess. But let's hit our shout outs. And if you got
score
any
prediction,
score prediction, bowl prediction, MVP, all those things. And if you got any bets, for today, Tooch, I'm assuming a lot of Bears unders. I don't know.
Look, it's Packers -10. I'd stay away from the side, but I do love the first quarter Packers minus. That's probably 3.5 now. It was 2.5, and first half -6.5.
First half.
First half -6.5. First quarter -3, -2.5, 3.5, whatever the line is right now. I don't know what it is because the line's gotten all the way up to Green Bay -10, with a total of 40.5, which means it's an implied score of about 25-15. You know, Packers -10, 26-15, around there.
DraftKings right now to see what some of these lines are.
Yeah. I don't have a first half or first quarter line on DraftKings. I may have to open up FanDuel and bet there. But I would take Packers in the first quarter minus the points. Packers in the first half minus the points. Just the Bears do not score in the first half, first quarter. I mean, we've done it. We put up points once in 16 games, in the first quarter. Other than that, we've been shut out. So, now we don't have. Our offensive line sucks. It's a patchwork offensive line. I'm going to say Packers 27, Bears 14. I think the Packers cover.
I've got Packers down to 9.5 here on DraftKings.
Yeah, 9.5.
So that line's moved a little. I guess maybe people are looking at it as they're going to pull their starters.
Well, I think once it got to 10, people started betting Bears. With a rivalry. The Bears last time we lost this game on a blocked field goal, we had a chance to tie, win or tie. We had a chance to win, right? It was 21-20 the last game. Was the score?
Yeah,
20 to 19.
Would have been.
We had a chance to win with the field goal. We're down one.
You talk about coaching staff. Obviously, poor clock management, but their special teams coordinator was the interim head coach for the Raiders the last time they did anything. What's his name?
I don't know the name.
Shimmy, but I want to say, I know it starts with a B. I'm sure someone in the chat's going to tell me, and I'm going to feel like an idiot. But you hire a good coaching staff. Good coaches get good coaching staffs, and good GMs draft well and develop well.
Skip's like, maybe they'll let us win so we keep polls.
Oh man,
that would be like 5D chess.
Yeah.
Packers.
But 5 years from now, we'd be saying, well, we haven't beat the Packers since that day in 2020.
Yeah. Poles got it done.
Yeah. Poles got it done.
Shit.
Yeah.
Shout out to my co-host here, Aaron Current, Ryan and Chris, wherever they are. Hope you guys are having a good 2025 so far. All the Barflies, Maddie for all their super chats. Appreciate it. Aldo for keeping the lights on. My partners Sean Higgs and Anthony Inglese over at Weekend Sports Betting Tips. Mm-hmm. And I forgot we had a sweep in our picks. So Mr. Numbers 446 from X got a free weekend VIP.
Nice.
From Weekend Sports Betting Tips. Let's see. My pick is Packers minus 6.5 first half. My free pick. Yeah. So I gave it out on Thursday. And then my score 27-14. Most valuable Bear. I don't know, man. Let me see. I'm gonna say DeAndre Swift. He needs some shit. He scored on a 39-yard touchdown run last time. Roshan also had a touchdown run in that game. Yeah. I'll say DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. I don't know about Swift. I like him, but I just don't think we have the correct offensive line for him. Yeah.
Yep. I don't think we're going to win though.
I don't foresee us winning either.
I would be very surprised if we win.
Yeah, a score prediction. I think we're going to get blown out. I think it's going to get ugly early, and they're going to pull the starters at halftime, and it's going to be not a lot of scoring in the second half. But I think Packers win this game 35-13. If we're lucky, that's if they pull their starters.
Yeah, if they don't pull their starters.
I mean, what did Arizona put on us? 42?
29-19 that game, I think.
I thought that they killed us. I thought that was a big blowout.
Let me see.
I know 19-29.
29-9. Arizona.
So it was a 20-point difference.
That was the game right after the Fail Mary game.
That was the game that Billings got hurt in, and we couldn't stop the run before him. And
after that, the Patriots beat us 19-3. Packers beat us 2019. The Vikings beat us 30-27. Detroit beat us 23-20. We went to San Francisco. That was very bad. We lost by 25 points there. Then the The Vikings beat us 30-12. Detroit beat us 34-17. And then we had that game in the rain in Soldier Field, the Seahawks 6-3.
6-3. But the defense actually looked good in that game. And the Seahawks, that was a game that they needed. They needed to win that game.
We had a chance at the end, too.
Yeah.
You know, nobody called a timeout there to get call a couple plays and get us in field goal range. And we don't trust our kicker to kick a 55-yard field goal. I mean, we have to start looking at kickers.
That's another thing, man. We've got to bring in another kicker this offseason. I'm sorry. I love Cairo as a person, but
he's
if
automatic,
you can't kick it at least 55.
Yeah, 45 in, he's automatic. But
I mean, watch the UFL, see if you can find somebody. That's what the Lions did.
Yep.
But
38-6.
Yep. I think it's going to be bad. My MVP
35-14. Your score?
Yeah, I think I had 13, but I mean it could be
35-13. Fair enough. Yep.
Somewhere between 13 and 20 is where the Bears will land.
I might look at a Packers team total in first half in this game.
Yeah, I think my MVP's got to be Caleb. I think you said we got to throw it around this game, so let's throw it around and have some fun. I mean, I'm not gonna call Cole Kmet anymore because they don't seem to notice him out there, so I'm not gonna call him my MVP. So I got to go with Caleb, and I think Caleb moves up the passer list today. I don't know if he gets us all the way to third, but he moves up that passer list.
Yep.
Yeah, shout out to you for coming on here and helping me out, Tooch. I appreciate it. You always come prepared, and you always have graphics and everything. All the things that I don't do very well, you do very well. So I think we're a good team. Shout out to KB, who, like I said, I believe is working. I texted him this morning. He hasn't texted me back. So he's either working or he's sleeping from working yesterday for 24 hours. But either way, shout out to KB. We'll probably try to hit him up to see if we can get Big Cuz on this offseason, see how he's doing. I know he's coming back from the pec, so I don't know how much free time he'll have because even his offseason, he's not going to be out and about doing a whole lot, I would imagine. And then shout out Chris came on here. He said he would be back next season, so shout out to him. I'm glad he's getting right mentally and physically, and we'll see him in next year. Maybe he'll come in for a free agency show. That'd be fun because he actually he doesn't know a whole lot about college as far as talking about draft picks and prospects, but he knows a lot about the rest of the NFL. So maybe he'll be able to help us out there. But until we come back, like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, I don't know exactly when our next show will be, but if you hit the notification bell at the bar room, it'll tell you when we go live, and you'll see Barfly Tailgate Show, and you'll be able to tune in and like our videos and join us in the chat. The chat's been fantastic today. Absolutely. Shout out to Matthew Fochese for the super chats. Flex Diggs has been on fire. Skip Johnson, I don't agree with you with the Bajent thing, but definitely hope Caleb doesn't get hurt. That is the number one thing today, for sure. Buka, Bizarro World. Who was it? Was it Hugh said that he was a veteran? So shout out to you and your military service. A lot of Navy veterans in the Chicago area because they called it Great Mistakes is right there in their backyard. So, but I was Army myself. My father-in-law from Chicago, he was a Navy guy. So shout out to all the veterans. But until next time, Tooch, we'll just leave them with a bear down.
Bear down.